These are the films that make scientists sick to their stomachs.
The last chunk of ice that broke off was about the size of the state of Rhode Island.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 scientifically inaccurate movies.
It's about to tear through the city of light!
For this list, we're looking at films that take liberties with their science, by including instances where they try to pass off science fiction as science fact, where the science doesn't make any sense, or where the science is changed to serve the plot.
You're implying that a group composed entirely of female animals will breed?
To keep the list grounded, we'll only be dealing with things that we can say with any certainty are not scientifically accurate, or at least are not scientifically feasible.
I'll see you later.
Number 10, Mutation, X-Men franchise.
Genetic mutation, the evolution of the human genome.
The whole X-Men franchise is a serial offender in terms of how it plays fast and loose with how evolution works. So sadly for those wishing to be Wolverine or Professor X, it wouldn't happen as quickly as the films may suggest, nor is there a gene that would produce such helpful mutations.
Until we can fully map his DNA, we can replicate it, but we can't generate it.
But that's not all. These movies are riddled with even more questionable science. We get time travel, mutant cures, the physics of Quicksilver's speed, and Xavier's re-embodiment, all of which aren't fully explained or are liberally used to randomly advance the plot.
You can walk. You're a perceptive one.
Feel free to read up about all the scientific inaccuracies in more detail online, but you'll be there a while.
Well, now what?
We find an expert on genetic mutation.
Number 9, Cloning Dinosaurs, Jurassic Park.
Bingo. Dino DNA.
Even though this sci-fi adventure features a very cute informational film starring Mr. DNA, the science that it claims has been pivotal in bringing dinosaurs back to life is just plain wrong.
Genetic power is the most awesome force the planet's ever seen, but you wield it like a kid that's found his dad's gun.
Firstly, DNA has an expiration date, so even if it's trapped in amber, it cannot be used after 65 million years for the purposes laid out in the film.
This fossilized tree sap, which we call amber, waited for millions of years with the mosquito inside.
Secondly, to complete a chain of DNA, you can't just use a different species to fill in the gaps.
On the tour, the film said they used frog DNA to fill in the gene sequence gaps. They mutated the dinosaur genetic code and blended it with that of frogs.
And finally, many of the dinosaurs in the movie are either not from the Jurassic period or are just plainly a false portrayal of their real-life counterparts.
Boy, do I hate being right all the time.
Number 8, Human Ragdolls, Transformers.
No, Dad!
Surprisingly, Michael Bay isn't one for scientific rigor in his movies, as demonstrated by his favoring of ridiculous set pieces and action sequences that are often inconceivable to the human brain. To allow his ludicrous films to play out, Bay often has to bend the laws of physics, and this sci-fi action flick really stretches its creative license. Case in point, when a human being is falling at near terminal velocity, a huge robot catching you will have exactly the same result as you smacking into the pavement: complete evisceration of your bodily form. Even if you are Shia LaBeouf, there's no way you're surviving that.
I got you, boy.
Number 7, Speed of Climate Change, The Day After Tomorrow.
6 to 8 months. That can't be.
That timescale isn't in months, it's in weeks.
End-of-the-world films like this and 2012 use people's fears of effects of global warming to get away with showcasing elaborate natural disasters that are either exaggerated to an enormous degree or couldn't happen at all.
Global warming is melting the polar ice caps and disrupting this flow. Eventually, it will shut down, and when that occurs, there goes our warm climate.
For a start, as seen in The Day After Tomorrow, it's dubious whether melting polar ice caps would mess with the Gulf Stream to cause a change in temperature. And even if it did, the speed at which it happens in the film is flatly impossible.
Our climate is changing violently, and it's going to happen over the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Furthermore, if a tsunami did hit Manhattan and froze within hours, why are the buildings not torn apart as the ice expands during the freezing process?
But what I do know is that if we do not act soon, it is our children and our grandchildren who will have to pay the price.
Number 6, PC to Alien Computer, Independence Day.
I gave it a virus. Computer virus.
This smash hit disaster film exploited American patriotism to the max and largely ignored the details behind its scientific plot points.
We then upload the virus. We then set off some kind of explosion, which will disable it.
In real life, it's hard enough to create a virus that could affect both Macs and PCs, let alone one that could bring down a whole alien mothership.
If we plant a virus into that mother ship, it's going to then filter down into all the corresponding ships below.
Even before that happens, though, how does Jeff Goldblum manage to read alien technology within just a few minutes, when top brains have been working on it for around 50 years? Also, how considerate of the aliens to fit their ships with compatible USB ports?
You really think you can fly that thing?
You really think you can do all that bullshit you just said?
Number 5. SuperSpeed, Superman.
Embedded in the crystals before you is the total accumulation of all literature and scientific fact from dozens of other worlds.
Although it was a critical and box office success, the superhero flick's ending pretty much undid all that happened in the film as Superman flew around the planet at a quick enough speed to reverse time on Earth. In order to move fast enough to travel back in time, though, an object would require an unfathomable amount of energy to reach a pace above the speed of light. Even though Supes has a pretty unique set of skills, he wouldn't be capable of traveling at speeds that would facilitate reversing the passing of time.
How'd you get here so fast?
I ran.
Moreover, building on the Transformers ragdoll issue, the speed at which he catches Lois would have cut her into shreds. Yeesh.
Easy, miss. I've got you.
Number 4. Earth's evolution after Earth.
Now I'm giving you an order to turn around.
M. Night Shyamalan is at it again in this widely hated sci-fi adventure film where father and son crash land on the human race's former home planet.
I've heard stories of Earth. A paradise. Until we destroyed it.
How a planet is so well vegetated considering everything freezes over at night is just baffling.
And most of the planet freezes over completely at night. But there are hot spots.
Plus, it really doesn't make any sense that everything on the planet has evolved to kill humans, since we were surely the dominant species when we left.
This is a Class 1 quarantined planet. Everything on this planet has evolved to kill humans.
And any animals on the planet would now have never seen a human, no? Little thought was put into this hot mess of a movie.
What was I supposed to do? What did you want me to do?
How stupid did the aliens have to be that they thought it would be a good idea to make the genetically engineered creatures that they used as weapons against the humans blind?
The aliens released to us monsters, bred to kill humans. Technically blind.
Number 3. Weird chick, weird science. Okay, we can't really have expected much in the first place from a film whose title immediately implies that its science will be a little odd. But even so, this teen comedy's premise is still damn unrealistic.
She's alive! Alive!
As much as we'd all love to create our perfect woman using an 80s computer, let alone a modern day one, a doll, and a hack into a government system for extra power, any combination of these things would not bestow life upon a Barbie doll, let alone give her a seemingly endless set of powers.
That's not very realistic, Wyatt.
It is likewise impossible to turn your brother into a talking pile of poo, but either way, this was still fun in a Frankenstein-style kind of flick.
Would you please turn me back to normal, please? I haven't done anything to you.
Number 2. Everything. Armageddon.
So this is the part where we're supposed to just hold on real tight and hope we don't die.
Mr. Bay put far more effort into creating naughty love scenes for Ben Affleck and Liv Tyler than he did to make this disaster film scientifically feasible, and it's painfully obvious.
Don't wanna close my eyes!
Armageddon's list of offenses includes the fact that there is little chance we discover a Texas-sized asteroid that was on a collision course with Earth as late in the game as the characters in the movie do.
It's what we call a global killer. The end of mankind. Doesn't matter where it hits, nothing would survive, not even bacteria.
On top of this, it tried to convince us that said asteroid would be damaged and maybe even split in half by just drilling 800 feet into it, and that a little pea of a comet would not be able to knock an asteroid into our orbit.
We win, Tracy!
Press it!
The number of the film's improbabilities and impossibilities is so high that NASA has screened it while training new recruits to see if they can spot all 168 heinous mistakes.
We can all just sit here on Earth, wait for this big rock to crash into it, kill everything and everybody we know. The United States government just asked us to save the world. Anybody want to say no?
Before we unveil our top pick that infuriates Stephen Hawking, here are a few honorable mentions.
Let's imagine for a few moments what our life would be like if we could access, let's say, 20% of our brain's capacity.
Number 1, impossible journey, the core.
Does somebody have a can of air freshener?
Yet another sci-fi flick uses excessively poor science to manufacture a disaster that would just not happen. Microwaves can only cause disturbances in our radios and phones, not a worldwide event that threatens the survival of all life on the planet.
When that shield collapses, microwave radiation will literally cook our planet.
In addition to this one gigantic neglected fact, the group that tunnels their way to the center of the Earth to use a bomb to set everything right wouldn't be able to have radio contact for as long as they do. Nor would they be able to walk outside of their ship due to the 1,000-degree temperature and insane levels of pressure.
We have to go outside.
What? Believe me, I hate to admit it, but I think he's right.
And so, poor old science takes a beating again in the core. Do you agree with our list?
Was I supposed to just come out and die?
What films do you think are the biggest insult to science?
Meryl, swing away.
For more scientifically rigorous top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
Oh, all right.